right, I believe we're live. Was just watching President Putin give a live debate, a live announcement saying that he agreed to the ceasefire and that he wants to um, speak with Trump before making it official. It seems that the Ukrainians are happy, the Russians are happy, the Americans are happy, the Europeans are upset. So everything is good and just in the world, as it should be. Hopefully the ceasefire will actually lead to a peace. A lot of anti-Trumpers are really upset about it, and they're absolutely livid. It's like, oh, Putin is playing Trump like a fiddle. I've noticed recently that Russia is unironically like behind everything. They're like an octopus, you know. Everything that happens bad in the West, it's the Russians that have done it. Did you notice this? But like the right is the one with the conspiracy theories, right? The left never pushes conspiracy theories. No, not whatsoever. And there's never evidence for this, right? Like when you have China send, what was her name? Feng Feng? Like that spy Feng Feng that was shagging American senators. Don't worry about it. Just relax. Don't worry about it. You know, when you have organizations like AIPAC in the United States, which, again, you know, like Israel is America's greatest ally, but occasionally, once in a blue moon, the interests of the United States and the Israel interests, they don't perfectly align. I mean, they're on the same wavelength, but they don't perfectly align. So it's up to AIPAC to help things along. But, like, if you notice that, relax, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Don't worry about it. But other than that, Russia is involved in absolutely everything. Like they're so amazingly intelligent. Like they were grooming Trump for decades. You know, like Skynet was building the Terminator. Anyway, right. Good afternoon, Benjamin Nguyen. Welcome to the show. Literally every subreddit has been ruined. Yeah, we're going to be talking about Reddit today because something like really interesting is happening. Something that unironically just blows my mind that it's even possible.
I don't know.
That people even thought about doing it, which is to ban people for upvotes. I think this is a first in internet history. Like no platform has done this before. Like usually you get banned for offside behavior, for things people in your chat say. Like they will find a lot of nonsense to ban you for. But they like never, you know, ban someone for upvoting or liking stuff. Like that is an entirely new mental illness that Reddit has discovered. I would say that someone asked me, it's like, what's worse now, Reddit or Blue Sky? And I gotta say, it was close. I actually had to think about it, but I think it's Reddit simply because it's bigger and more influential. Like, Reddit is de facto the worst platform on the internet. I would say that's an extremist platform. Like, I don't think you can make this this statement without factual accuracy. Like, it is an extremist platform, and a lot of people are advocating for violence on Reddit now, which is probably why they had to step in before, like, government officials are looking into it. Because, like, there's actual, like, criminal activity going there. Like, you have free speech, but even I am looking at some of that shit, and I'm like, that's illegal in many countries. Like, to display that on the internet, it's illegal in European Union and many other places, right? And so, like, Reddit can generally get in a lot of trouble. I don't get the influence Israel have over the United States. Like, what don't you get? They have, like, I mean, this is above board. This is not something of a conspiracy, right? They have a lobby group, one of the biggest lobby groups in the world, and there are American politicians that said every guy in Washington has, like, an AIPAC representative, right? So, like, they do have influence in the sense that they do lobbying. Now, I don't know if the United States does lobbying in Israel, right? Like, if Benjamin Netanyahu has, like, a lobbyist from the U.S., right? Like, if it's reciprocal. But I don't think, like, this is controversial what I'm saying, right? Like, you can't lobby in the United States. It's not illegal. And there is AIPAC, which is promoting Israeli interests, right? So that when the United States and Israel doesn't 100% align, then it's the job of AIPAC to make sure that senators see the correct thinking, right? Like the correct way. Sub-brief. Hey, I made it to a live stream. Big fan. Well, thank you, Sub-brief. I appreciate it. Let me give you a wrench to a fellow content creator. The fact that I never got a check mark is really upsetting for me. Plebit is a necessary evil. You need a containment site for the leftists. There is no way you're stealing my argument. No. This is my argument. Like, I've made this claim about Twitch, and it applies to Reddit as well. Remember what happened to Tumblr and what they overwhelmingly affected the rest of the World Wide Web, especially Twitter. I remember, like, when Tumblr went down, you had, like, a lot of leftists, and they started following, like, leftist journalists and shit like that. And they immediately started posting their art. In other words, they started posting furry porn, they started posting, you know, like, all of their anime shit. And it freaked out the journalists from the New York Times, but it's like, well, these are your people. Like, these are the ones you write articles for, you know? Like, they're the ones following you. Why are you so upset, right? Because they came from Tumblr. Yeah, Twitch is definitely a containment site. Reddit is another containment site. Blue Sky is a containment site. Basically, like, on the internet, there are websites that are extremist in nature. But if you go there, you find mentally ill people. And a lot of individuals, they think like, oh, it would be so good if this website would just be taken offline, right? Like, it would be so good if Twitch would go bankrupt. And what these people don't understand is if it ever were to happen, heaven forbid, if Twitch would go bankrupt, all those mentally ill people would come on YouTube. And when they go on YouTube, they go like, oh, how can you say this? How can you say that? Oh, we need to demand more from the platform. We need more rules, right? And then it shits up the platform. It shits up the fucking platform. And this actually happened with Tumblr, right? So, like, back in the day, you would go to Tumblr and it was a mental illness zone. And I'm not saying, like, as a pejorative. No, like, people on Tumblr, unironically, like, had their mental illnesses in the bio. Like, you would see social justice druid, schizophrenic, ADHD, autism, right? Like, they would literally put their mental illnesses, for those of you who... I'm not kidding, by the way. You're looking at me like I'm a crazy person and I'm making shit up. No, like, this actually happened, alright? Like, this was the internet back in the day, where left-leaning people were proud of their mental illnesses. They would sometimes self-diagnose and they would get really angry if you went like, what, did you actually went to a doctor in order to get a autism diagnosing? And they would be like, oh, no. Like, why does the medical profession know things better than I do? These are my lived experience. I know myself better, right? So, there was a time when left-leaning people would, instead of pronouns in the bio, like that wasn't invented yet, they would have their mental illnesses in the bio. So they would be like, usually ADHD, bipolar, autism, you know, like the basic shit. No, I'm telling you, it's fucking true, Craig. I'm not, chat, please tell Craig that I'm not lying. Like, I'm not throwing a smoke in your face. Like, this is like, this was how the internet was back then. And you'd go to Tumblr and literally everyone had that shit. And so, like, people were like, wow, it would be so good if Tumblr would just, go bankrupt. If it would be so good if Tumblr gets banned. And they got their wish. And then all the mental illness went to Twitter. Right? And once that happened, they demanded for terms of service, they demanded for safety and safe spaces and all that shit. And it shut up the entire Twitter conversation. See, Ultra MAGA chat knows what the fuck is up. I'm not lying. Like, dude, like, I was there. I may be a little bit old, but I can tell you stuff from back in the day. And it's so fucking insane that you don't believe it, right? Like, it sounds so crazy. Like, how could that have happened? And this is like Western culture, like Western Anglo-Spiritic culture. You live through it. You live through the moral panic. And then you're looking back at it and it's like, how were people so fucking insane? You know, like, if you look now back to the pandemic. And you know, like, you know, people going at restaurants and they were sitting in bubbles and you had, like, people with masks that cut only the lips so that they can sing in an orchestra. And you're like, how the fuck were people so fucking insane? Like, how are they so mentally ill? And if you lived that time, not only were they so mentally ill, but they would demand that you behave like them or bad shit will happen to you. Why did the platforms listen to the insane? Well, you gotta understand, it's not that the platforms listen to the insane, right? It's more like this. In the beginning, the platforms were small, right? Like in the beginning, when the internet started, you didn't know which platform would grow and which platform would stagnate. So, like, you had MySpace, and MySpace had potential, but then it went to the shitter. Meanwhile, Tumblr, right? Like, small platform, people go there, people join, they form communities, and all of a sudden, it forms the culture. Now, you can't ban the crazies because they're the people there, they're your audience. Like, you don't get to choose your audience, you just put the platform and people come. And so, like, Tumblr became a leftist shithole. Now, when they went to Twitter, you gotta understand that these crazies are connected. Like, they're in the corporation world. They know people. Just because, like, someone likes to draw a funny diaper porn fetish doesn't necessarily mean that in real life they're not a prestigious member of the community. They can be a banker. They can work in Wall Street. They can be everywhere, right? And so, like, if you don't do what they say, well, they contact the advertisers. They pressure you. Like, a lot of these leftists were very connected. In fact, like, I know a thing with an artist that blew my mind, right? So, like, there's this artist that I work with, and he was drawing at the time stuff for the furry community. And he was, like, of some prestige, of some renown. He's a French artist, so, like, he draws really good. And there's this furry that asks him for a commission. And he says, like, no, I can't do it, because, like, I got, like, my entire year filled because he was drawing for a comic book. And this furry, like, really, really liked the artist. And he's like, look, I'll do anything. Anything you want. And the guy, like, in joke says, like, he had a problem with the property. Like he couldn't get an approval for an agreement. And he talked about it in public. And the furry says, like, I'll fix that for you. It's like, what the fuck do you mean you fix that for me? Like, yeah, I'll get you the approval. I'll get you the license. Right? Just go tomorrow to the DMV or whatever the fuck it's called in France. Just go there and you're going to get your green light. And he goes there, he fucking gets the green light. Like, all of a sudden, all the red tape is caught, like, the bureaucracy is open, like, it's just like, fuck, okay. And he drew the art, and that's that. And he also got, like, $5,000 on top. And so, you gotta understand, like, on the internet, people are degenerate, but in real life, they actually have jobs, they actually may be influential individuals. And so, like, this is how they pressure the platforms. Because you don't know what connections they have. Like for instance, Zoe Quinn, right? Like, what the fuck is Zoe Quinn, right? Like, on the internet, people laugh at her. But in the real life, she was extremely well connected. She was connected with moderators on various platforms. She was connected with politicians. She was connected with activists. Right? She was big shit. That's why people hired her, not for her talent, but for her connections. Oh, in France, it's called VMD. A head friend that was fired from managerial role from Little Caesars because he complained about female employees not making pizzas at an adequate pace, and now no franchise will hire him. Yeah, it goes the other way around, right? Like, you piss off some random schmuck on the internet, you piss off some furry or something, and then you find out that you're getting fired, that you're never going to be able to work again. Yeah, like, you don't know who hides behind the avatar. Right? Like, usually it's just a nobody, but, like, sometimes it is somebody. Like, there's this crown prince in Saudi Arabia. He has a Steam account. He's got an anime girl in the profile and shit. You're looking at his Steam account, you may think it's just an average weirdo. But in reality, he's like a sheik. One of the wealthiest people in the world. He's got a Steam account. It is what it is. Zoe Quinn needs to be punished. I don't even know where she is now. I don't think anyone cares about her. AIDS is SIDA. SIDA is in Romania as well. The French, like, really like to butcher the English language for some reason. I think they hate it. Like, they have a rivalry with the Brits. And it reflects itself on the United States as well. I'm also a degen. How do I acquire this power? Is this like where I give you a words of wisdom and it's like the degeneracy? The degeneracy isn't what makes you. ectobiologist. It is what you make yourself. So you make yourself into something great, and that is what you then can use to give the degeneracy a good name. You do not use the degeneracy to give yourself a good name. You first give yourself a good name, and then you give the blessings to the degeneracy. Would I make like a wise mentor? I need a like Chinese beard, like a white Chinese beard, like an Asian thing. A rich guy who loves anime wife. Many such cases. Although I gotta say, I think like the people that like anime aren't as rich as the people that like furry shit. I think I spoke on several streams just how expensive furry stuff is and how expensive furry artists are. Like you go to a random Japanese person, he will draw you like the most sexy anime girl ever. Like you're just in a background and it's shitting pixels is so fucking nice. And if you pay him a little bit extra, he animates her too, right? And he will charge you like $300, like maybe $400 if you want it animated, right? And then you go to a furry artist, $2,000. And he draws you just a furry. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, how are these prices so fucking high? Anyway, let's talk about Reddit. Right, so like Reddit is noticing a steep decline in stock prices. Like for the last 3 days, their stocks are plummeting. Let me see if I can find the article. So, Reddit stonks. Reddit shares plunge almost 25% in 2 days. Right? And this was last year. And now it's plunging again. And so it keeps losing shares. Now, there are many reasons for it, but I think like the main one is the recent controversy, right? So like the recent controversy is that people notice extremist rhetoric on Reddit, if you can believe it. Like unironically death threats towards sitting politicians, towards Donald Trump, towards members of Dodge, towards Elon Musk, praising Luigi, and other such things, right? And it's just getting worse and worse. Like it's getting even worse than 4chan now. Like the people on Reddit have been so demoralized by Trump's victory that they're literally going unhinged. And I'm saying this because like on other websites, like you would get banned before that happens. Like if you say the same shit on Twitter, you get banned, right? Now there's a reason why this is happening. It's not I mean it is about free speech, but it's not necessarily in the sense that the owners of the platform want to ban you. Like you need to understand, like for platforms, moderation is expensive. Like they don't want to spend money on that shit. They don't want to spend time on that shit. Like, if it was up to them, they would just, like, moderate CP and that's it, Like, just let people do whatever the fuck, CP, bots, and scam. Like, that would be the stuff that gets moderated. But, like, everything else goes, right? Like, this is how the internet used to be back in the day. And so, the reason that they moderate is because it's actually illegal in many European cases. Like, they can fine your platform. They can ban your platform now, right? So, like, the European Union considers like hate speech and incitement to violence, and Britain does it as well. And so like they're forcing online companies to censor now. And most online companies, like they censor to a moderate degree, like they're not exaggerating. I mean, some are going overboard, but like generally speaking, they're trying not to allow people to do like actual incitement to violence, right? Unless you're Twitch and you have Hassan Piker. But like everyone else like tries to prevent like legitimate incitement to violence, legitimate doxing. Because again, like they're illegal in many countries, and you have an international platform, right? The choice is like you can shop your services in European Union and lose the money, right? Like that's always an option. But like all of these platforms, they want to make money from the EU because like a big chunk of their user base comes from there. And so Reddit is in a tough place because like the investors are noticing this radicalization. They're noticing that people are becoming unhinged. And they're like, well, holy shit, like, if the European Union starts fining us, like, all it takes is a scandal. All it takes is, like, for some papers, for some journalists to take, like, a couple of posts and then write articles, and then the European Union can just put fines on us. And And it's going to crush us, right? So now Reddit is panicking, and I think like what they're doing is that they decided to ban people that upvote, right? So like if you upvote a post that's positive of Luigi, you get banned. And so this has like a feedback loop because like, okay, Reddit is afraid of the extremist takes, and so they're going to ban people that upvote the extremist takes, but now people are afraid of upvoting, and that makes the platform more dull and boring. Because let's be fucking honest, you know, like if people get the idea that you can lose your entire account by upvoting, guess what people do? They don't upvote. Because they don't know what the fuck is triggering people. Like, again, you know, you may like a meme from Luigi, or you may like someone that talked about Luigi, and now your entire account is banned. And it's like, well, hold on a second. What if I misclicked? And by the way, like, the whole morality is fucked as well. I really dislike this concept, right? So, like, okay, there are certain people that like what Luigi did. I disagree with their take, but, like, those people exist in the real world. Like, they are human beings. They have a right to vote. They have their own opinions, right? And so you decide to persecute them by preventing them from posting on the internet, but you're not solving the problem. Like, now they just think that the system is against them. And look at how selective this shit is, right? Like, back when the BLM riots were taking place, and entire stores were looted, and entire neighborhoods were burned down, and people suffered because of the financial ruination that brought, if there was an actor that actually published a book on Amazon called In Defense of Looting. That was fine, right? Like, no investigation into it. Like, no, that's okay. You know, people that were supporting the BLM violence, not the protest, the violence, that was fine, right? But for some fucking reason, like, you're going to cherry pick Luigi. But, like, Luigi is like the finality of this thought train. Like you're championing the idea of like people taking the law in their own hands and committing crime, and it's like everything is fine. And when someone tries to stop them, like Rittenhouse, you're against that. And now you're Pikachu face that it has led to this. What the fuck did you expect? Torba even bans sports. Yeah, the thing with Torba, look, I don't like ideological zealots. I don't care if it's left-wing, right-leaning, center. I don't fucking like zealots. And so, like, the reason people don't like Twitter is because Twitter tries to shove their ideology down your asshole. Well, the Jack Dorsey Twitter did, right? Like, this new Twitter is different. But, like, Jack Dorsey Twitter is like, they try to shove their ideology up your asshole. And so, like, finally you have Gab. And what does Gab do? They try to shove their ideology up your fucking asshole. Oh, they don't like pornography. Oh, they don't like sports. Like, give me a fucking break. You know, just give me a platform where I can talk to other people. And I decide what I don't want to see in my feed. If I don't want to see sports in my feed, I'll just block people that do sports. If I don't want to see Christians in my feed, I'll fucking block them. Right? Like, just give me the fucking platform. That's all I need to ask. Just provide me a service and keep your lecturing to yourself. If you can't do that, I'm not going to use your platform. Parler was doing that. Right? Like, Parler literally did just that. Parler was basically like, yeah, no, this is our platform. Just go wild. It's like, okay. You know, like, is it too much to ask? To be fair, taking the law into your own hands is the only way the rich and connected get punished. No, they also get punished when other rich people go after them, right? This is why I support Elon Musk, even though he's a grifter. Like, he's one of the most proficient grifters of our lifetime. But, like, his grift, as a byproduct, also helps me get what I want. Like, he has to fuck with other people that I dislike in order for him to achieve his grift. And therefore, it's like, it's great. V, I'm a zealot for firearm ownership. Yeah, like, if you were to make a platform where you're forcing me to interact with gun owners, and I can't block them, I can't mute them, like, you're thinking, nope, like, you need to hear them, V. They need to be in your feed. I wouldn't use your platform. It's not that I have anything against guns, or gun owners, heaven forbid, but I don't understand, like, why you as a platform need to shove your morality up my ass. Just leave me the fuck alone. Let me use the service. I decide who I interact with. I decide who I don't want to interact with. And that's that. I'm going to be living in your vision soon. Poland is going to force all men to undergo training. Oh, God. To be fair, like, having a military ready is not necessarily a bad thing. But the military training in Eastern Europe, the way that I was told, is quite dehumanizing. It is what it is, I guess. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not. Who knows? I for sure know that I'm lucky that I missed the military training. Like, I was literally 1 year, and then I would have got drafted. But like, Romania decided, no, we're going to have a professional army, so you're not going to serve unless like you want to be a professional soldier. I'm literally not a zealot. Can't think of a thing. Perhaps a zealot for introspection. No, I see. Elon wants to mass import Indians to replace American workers. Yeah, but like, that's the thing, right? Like, see, this is what I don't understand. Certain right-wing people at all. Does Joe Biden not want that? Well, Joe Biden wants that too. Okay, so Joe Biden wants to also import as many Indian people as possible. Elon Musk wants to import Indian people as possible. So like, we just have this off the fucking table. Doesn't fucking matter because they both do. Like, what else differentiates these two people? Let's look at other differences. Well, Elon Musk wants to shut the border. Joe Biden doesn't want to shut the border. Okay, so if you get Elon Musk, you're getting closer to your goal. You're not getting everything, you greedy fuck. I know, like, you want everything now, you little child, but you're not going to get everything now, because the left didn't get everything now when they got in power. Like, they got little by little, you know? Like, the left didn't come out, and it's like, oh, we want trans kids to be able to choose, and we want women's sports to have, like, men that identify as... Obama didn't say that shit, right? So imagine, like, if someone would say, we're not going to vote for Obama, we're going to vote for Bush, because, like, Obama isn't giving us what we want. You know? It's like, stop being so fucking greedy. Like, just take what you're getting if it gets you closer to the goal, and once you got that, make sure that it doesn't get taken back, right? So, like, the new guy that comes in should be even more radical than Elon Musk, and that's pretty much how politics work. You get, like, little baby steps. You get like, incrementalism. If they replace us with cheap labor, none of us will have jobs. And I can send you super chats. No, like, I sympathize with you, but I'm not talking from a moral point of view. I'm talking from a pragmatic point of view. I'm talking from, like, a real point of view, right? Like what the situation on the ground is. It's kind of like, imagine playing a game of Civilization, and you're upset that by turn 5 you're not in the enemy capital yet. It's like baby steps. Again, like, the left didn't get to where they are overnight. In the United States, they made a rule drill instructor sergeant can no longer hit people. To be fair, I'm really surprised that no one hit the drill sergeant back. Well, actually, I'm curious if that happened or not. Because, like, see, there are certain individuals that I know in my life that they're incredibly masculine, let's put it like that. You know, and really easy to trigger. And they have, like, violent impulses. Like, it's not something that they can control, right? But, like, if you punch them, they punch you back, like, immediately. They don't even think about it. And so, like, it's surprising that if a drill sergeant would punch one of them, like, they would manage not to at least hit back. Yeah, I know it's a criminal offense, but there is also this thing called crime of passion, right? Like, when you do it in the heat of the moment, like, your mind goes blank and you stop thinking. Now, obviously, like, most people are capable of not going there, but if you're, like, training millions of recruits, like, eventually you will reach that guy. Like, eventually there will be that guy. And in fact, like, they even made a movie about it, right? Like, Metal Gear Jacket. Like, you have that guy. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just, like, randomly hitting people. I don't think it's a good idea. No need for physical discipline in a volunteer military. Well, the idea of the physical discipline was to teach people to maintain composure in the battlefield, right? Like teach people to maintain alert in situations of stress. Because like the purpose of the drill sergeant is to stress you. Right? Like, that's why they're screaming. That's why they're barking all the time. Not all militaries do it like that. For instance, like in the British military, they don't scream. Like they talk normally. But apparently in the United States, like they decided that barking and screaming at the recruits is training them for the dangers of warfare, right? Like for the battlefield. I don't know if they're right or not, but like the idea of hitting the recruit was also to stress them, right? Like to constantly keep them stressed so that they can maintain focus even under difficult situations. You bide your time and wait to pull the pin on one of the sergeant's grenades? Jesus. Even if it's volunteer, your actions can put other people's lives at risk. To be fair, the way we train our soldier has to be working. Yeah, but like it's going to come a time where it's going to be put to the test. Like to be fair, when's the last time the United States actually had a proper engagement? Well, like Vietnam or the Korean War? You know, like fight someone that actually has the capability and the tools in order to fight back. It's like going into Iraq or Afghanistan, where you have planes that fly higher than their anti-air, I don't think that counts. High testosterone is positively correlated with low impulse control. Yeah, I know. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Right? Like, if you train 10,000 recruits, like, at one point, you're going to get the guy that can't control himself. And when you punch him, he punches back without thinking. If VR gets good enough, you can actually train soldiers by sending them to virtual war. I don't think it works that way. I don't think it works that way because the person realizes they're in a simulation. Like when you play VR games, you realize it's fake, and so it's not the same, right? But there are war games that they do, right? Like they actually spread the people into two teams. Like in the Marines, they also have the Crucible. Like they have like ways to put the soldiers through hell. My fucking god, I'm looking at the Crucible from the Marines, right? Just so you can understand the training. So, before graduating, the Marines go to a 54-hour event, right? And this event validates the training a Marine recruit has undergone before they can be called a Marine. And so, let's see. What exactly is the Crucible? So, sleep deprivation, limited food, casualty evacuations during the Crucible, day movement under resupply, combat assault course, reaction course, unknown distance firing, night infiltration. Basically, like for 54 hours, you go through hell. And so, like, you're looking at this and you're like, wow, you know, those people that managed to finish the Crucible, they're so fucking cool. They're so fucking awesome. Imagine being the drill sergeant and you have to do this, like, twice a year, I guess, right? Like with different classes that promote. That's fucking insane, man. Like that is fucking insane. Yeah, like everyone looks at the Marines and they're like, wow, you know, like they're marching and they're doing their little drills and it's like, look how difficult it is. Imagine being the drill sergeant and you have to march alongside them. The women in military is actually quite difficult for many reasons. It's not like, you know, like a lot of people say, oh, there's a woman in the military and will she be able to pull me out of sniper fight? Like, that's the least of your worries, right? The problem with women in the military is like, first of all, the female anatomy is different than that of a man. And apparently, from what I've heard, like, the body of a woman suffers a lot more than the body of a man. Like if you have to walk through the desert, for instance, for like 2 days, right? Like after those 2 days, the man will look a lot more healthier than the woman. Like her body is deteriorating from that. But that's not the issue. Like the main issue, and this is like stuff that I've been told from people that actually were serving. they were dug up in a trench, and they were in a forward position, getting ready for the enemy. And the space was really tight. The space was really tight, and they were afraid of going out because drones. And so they had like a very small dormitory for the men and a little hole in the ground to take a shit, and that's pretty much it. Now the women come up, they're getting told that there's going to be a couple of women from a different squad joining. And when the women get there, well, now they need a separate dormitory, right? Because they need to change and stuff. And they can't just do it in a hole in the ground. Like they need to have like an entire thing built. And guess who has to build it, right? So it's like these logistical issues that exist, and they don't talk about it. Like I haven't seen it being mentioned on CNN. Even raised as a problem. It's like, okay, well, this is a problem. How do we fix it? Like no one talks about it. No one brings it up. Have you heard the term barracks bunny? Promiscuity can be an issue too. Oh yeah, like I spoke with a lot of soldiers, and they basically said that they do get rowdy in the barracks. But like another thing that is never brought up, and this is like an interesting thing, right? Because they talk about equality, and it's like, okay, let's say that I want to join the military for the rank and the prestige. Like I'm not really interested in defending my country. Like I never want to get deployed or go to war. I want an easy life. And so, you just want to do your military training, like maybe you're deployed somewhere, but not in an active combat zone, like, and then you get like all the perks, and you get the rank and the prestige. Now, if you're a man, and you sign up for the military, if you have to go, you gotta go, right? Like, if they deploy you in a combat zone. Like, let's say that tomorrow Trump decides to send forces in Ukraine, and you're drafted. Well, you gotta fucking go, right? Like, but if you're a woman, what's to stop you from getting pregnant? And then you don't have to go. So like, where's the equality in that, right? Like, if I'm a guy and I become a father, like that doesn't excuse me. I still gotta go. But if you're a woman and you get pregnant, all of a sudden, right? There's a reason why they say woman on a ship is bad luck. Oh, I don't like they usually say that this is a superstition that people in medieval times believed. I don't think that's the case. I think it's more likely voyages during the imperial era, they lasted for like 6 months or so, right? And you're with a bunch of men trapped on a ship with literally nothing to do. Like, having a woman there just sparks drama. Like, even assuming that no one tries to go funny with her or like, right? It just creates drama among the men. Like, they would argue with each other over the woman. They would try to impress the woman. They would try, right? So, like, I think that's the reason why in the imperial era they didn't allow women on board ships. It's because, like, the voyage was too long. Military women serve a purpose. The boy need their barrack bunnies to relieve themselves and stay focused. Can't shoot right with weighted packed balls. I don't know if that's true or not, but like I do know that that there is a lot of fornication from what I've been told. Like it's actually a thing. And I do believe like when you have like when you're surrounded by like very fit men, right? Like there's a lot of testosterone and like masculine energy. Yeah, I think it's arousing for women. Like I imagine like going and you're surrounded by like ushikushi 10 out of 10 succubis. And you're like one of the few guys on the camp, and there's like just succubis everywhere. They haven't seen a man in a couple of months. Like of course stuff will happen. Like it's not out of the ordinary. The Navy rolled out pregnancy fly suits. Oh, come on. Really? To maintain morale and discipline, unnecessary distractions must be avoided. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a reason why, I think like fornication is banned in the military. Like you're not allowed to have like a relationship with the superior, right? Well, wasn't that like a thing in Stargate? So like in Stargate, Jack O'Neill obviously had a thing for Samantha Carter, and Samantha Carter obviously liked Jack O'Neill. But like they couldn't do anything with each other because like there were rules against it. Like there were rules in the military against fornicating between officers. V has a point. The military should be majority pretty women, and only a few men can join. Oh goodness gracious! Why am I getting messages? Who's messaging me? I remember I got into an argument on Reddit a while ago with a person over Italian food. I got to the point they were following me into other subs to harass me. I clicked on their profile to block them, and their most recent post was them drinking their own piss on our piss. At that moment, I realized I had spent much of this pointless time arguing about the taste of food with someone who drinks their own urine. Reddit is a shithole. Yeah, I mean... Oh my god. You know, like, some of the most moral busybody and aggressive twats on the internet are also some of the most unironically degenerate people on Earth. Like, I'm looking at the latest controversy that I got into, which was on Twitter, right? Do you guys remember Gunnargate? So, like, you got Gunnargate going on, like, Melanie Mac freaks from a gacha game or some shit. And all of a sudden, like, the entire posse of Twitter evangelists show up. And then they're, like, all concerned about entertainment. And it's like, how can we allow a society that people play video games? And those video games, like, have lewd depictions of women. Like, this is demonic, it's satanic. Like, we shouldn't allow... And they go, like, just like... arguing with strangers on the fucking internet. Like, the guy may be from Fiji... But unless that guy thinks that the gacha games should be banned, like, he is a problem. Like, we need to get rid of this problem. It's like, you know, like the fact that you have an ideology that's hyper concerned with not just how people from your country think, but how people from around the world think, is fucking maddening to me, right? But anyway, right, so, like, you got Gunnargate, you got, like, all these people on one side, you know, the bastions of virtue, the pious morality police, and they're arguing with the degenerates, right? Like, they're arguing with people like me, they're arguing with people like Miss Savvy, they're arguing with the degenerates. But then when you actually look under the hood, you realize that all of these piety warriors, they're divorced, they're single, one of them was, apparently had a summoning for domestic battery. One of them was into homosexual furry pornography and making his own not safe for work comics. And it's like, okay, so on one hand you have the dredges of society LARPing as the purity police, and on the other hand you have people that are happy, comfortable with their lives, married, having children, and those are the actual dredges. It's all a shit show. Honestly, like, I can finally understand Joker from the Batman. Like, it's all a fucking joke. Savi, our degenerate arch, it was funny to see. I don't even know who Madame Savi is, other than, like, seeing some of her tweets and shit. But, like, again, I know that she's married. Like, she's happy with her life, right? Like, she's not miserable. And so, like, it's really weird, like, when you have a person that's happy with their life to take advice from someone that's miserable. It's like, I'm starting to think that these individuals found religion... not out of conviction, but like they were miserable in their life and they found religion to make themselves happy. And they realized that even with religion, they're still not happy. And they're looking at other people and they're absolutely jealous. They're envious that those people are happy and they're not. And so like they try to tear down what other people have. It's very similar to what I see in certain communities, like the LGBT community, where you have like trans people that like really want to transition and they really want to become a woman. Because they think, like, becoming a woman would make them happy. And then they do transition, and they realize that they're still not happy. And what they do is, like, they're trying to tear other women down. Like, they become very bitter, they become very spiteful. You know, these are the people that are attacking fan service. Like, they don't like femininity. It's literally the same mindset. It's the same concept. It's basically like the envy and the jealousy made manifest. Thank you for the donation, SRC Maker, $20. Wow, you earned today's super chat for somehow relating Stargate 1 into your stream. I actually miss SG1. You know, like, in one hand, like, I wish that they would make more SG stuff, but on the other hand, I realize that we still live in the era of woke, and if they make SG1, it's going to be woke as fuck. It's not even about Kuming, right? Like, I don't even give a shit about fan service that much. But it's the fucking principle of it. Like, who the fuck you are to lecture people on the internet, right? Like what? Who put you in charge? Just think, can you come down back on Earth, princess? Like, can you stop being such a world busybody? You're no better than a vegan that cries that meat is murder. You're no better than an environmentalist that tries to block a road because people are polluted. You're literally at that fucking level. Like, unless you're my blood, you're related with me, or like we're in a business contract, you have absolutely no right to moralize me. And I don't moralize you, so like, why can't you reciprocate? They want religion to be a magic pill without any effort and work on their part. Religion works when you apply its teachings to your mentality and life. That takes effort. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think, like, it's an American thing. The woke do it as well. Like, have an ideology that's concerned about what people think, not their actions, but what they think. And then get a couple of followers and start demeaning and tearing down other people. And that makes you virtuous by comparison, right? Because, like, you're cleaning the dredges of society one tweet at a time. It's so pathetic. It's like the epitome of grifting. Well, it is what it is. I don't think it's going to go away. I think it's going to stay. And it's like, again, this is the behavior of what woke people did. This is how vegans act. This is how environmentalists act. And so, like, it's here to stay. It will just come in different forms and shapes, but it will always be here. Woke is the religion of the lazy. Other religions teach you effort, patience, and sacrifice. No, I don't think so. I don't think, like, woke is the religion of the lazy. Like going out there and getting beaten by cops while you're doing activism. I don't think that's lazy. I think, like, wokeness is actually a very bitter religion. Like, if you're a white person as a woke individual, like, they will say that the work is never ending. And even after you finish, you still don't get anything, right? Like, religion, at least in some Christian denominations, they teach you that with suffering and with pain, eventually you go to heaven, right? So, like, eventually you find salvation if you live a pious life. With the woke ideology, you don't get to heaven. Like, they will say that no matter what you do is never enough. And so, remember that guy, which also got radicalized on Reddit, by the way. But remember that guy that set fire to himself in front of the American embassy, right, over Palestine, right? And after he died, like, there were people that said on Twitter, "Rest in power," and immediately, like, well, no, he's the wrong skin color. Like, you can't say that. That's our word. So, like, even after dedicating himself to the cause, like, even after martyring himself for the cause, like, it's still not enough. And like, that is such a fucking sad ideology, basically, right? Because it shows that even in, like, if you do the most extreme thing for the ideology, they will still fucking hate you. And it's like, it's such a dark ideology, man. It's like, again, like with Christians, at least, like, there is a heaven. There's a promise that if you behave this way, you will eventually, enter the kingdom of heaven, and it's all worth it. But like with woke ideology, there is no finish line. There is no happiness. It's just like constant dedication. Satanism isn't Satanism. It's the religious equivalent of a bunch of children who hate their dads and try to be edgy and offensive. Well, some of them generally had reasons to help their dads. Again, it's this agrospheric mindset where you have to thought police entertainment. And so, like, you have people that grew up during the time of the moral majority. And the moral majority was called the fun police, right? Like literally because of that. Like everything that was fun, it was under scrutiny. So heavy metal was satanic, Dungeons and Dragons was problematic, anime also satanic, Harry Potter was casting magic and shit, and that was satanic. Like everything was satanic for those people. And so individuals like really despise the moral busybodies in their life because hostility builds resentment, right? Like if you start nagging someone about their hobbies and you keep pushing and pushing, like they will resent you. And so like they created the atheist movement and some other people in order to mock and ridicule, because like what you basically get is a moral decoupling at that point. And they got the moral decoupling, they voted for Obama, they created the atheist movement, and some even created the satanic temple. Which, yeah, it's a complete LARP. Like, it's not actual satanic. It's a LARP. And so, yeah, they then created the woke, which, you know, buggered the rest of people. And now the wheel is turning. Like, it's not, yeah, it's not really a line from A to B. It's like a circle. And it just keeps going and going. Like, it's just like their turn now to be in charge, and then it's going to be the left turn to be in charge. Like, they used to have the hippies. The hippies were the same shit, right? Like, the hippies were terrorized by their parents, which were hyper-religious. So then you have the hippies, and the hippies terrorized their kids, which then created the Bush era, and then the Bush era terrorized their kids, and it created the Obama, and the Obama terrorized their kids, and it's now probably going to create the MAGAs, right? It is what it is. It's just like nonstop. Thank you for the super chat, Gary Thomas. Madame Savi is married to a 6'9" German, really, and she is of Polish extraction. There's a Warsaw Pact joke in there, but I'm not smart enough to make it. Well, you need a Russian to make that joke properly. If you put rainbows on your product and say the chant of Floyd, your profits will be up to 20%. Funny enough, like that was a thing during the Bush era. Like if you put an eagle on a mug, like your profits would go up, right? You put the Freedom Eagle. Satanism isn't just hating your dad. A lot of the people who run in those circles are child abusers. Well, that's another thing, like I noticed, and this also happened with the Twitter evangelists, is that they don't call out their own, right? Like when they see something bad in their group, they don't call it out for some fucking reason, which is very interesting, because like I saw like JDA with a couple of other people arguing, and they were basically like, no, why are you picking on this guy? Because he's one of us, he's a Christian. And I'm like, well, like, that's literally how the woke behaved, and how you get deranged people like Vosh and Hassan. Because, like, they never get called out from their group, right? Like, he's one of us. And some would say, well, like, tribalistic nature is normal. And it's like, yeah, it's normal among family and close friends, not among, like, internet strangers. Like, you don't know the guy, but just because he's part of your group, just because he's part of your ideology, you're going to hide the shit he does, right? And the question is, like, well, once you start doing that, it's like, well, how far are you willing to go? And you know, like, the shit that they do escalates and no one calls it out. Like, for instance, with Destiny's and his sex tapes. Like, other streamers knew, but no one called it out. Why? Because, well, he's part of the in-group. It's not about the religion group or anything, right? Like, the woke do it as well. You don't need religion. It's just like when you create a very tribalistic group with a us versus them mindset, and you have, like, a series of morals that you only apply to the other. Right? So you create morality for others, but never for you. Speaking of video games, I want to remind V the absolute brain rot of banning the Nexus mod Spider-Man mod, which gets rid of the LGBT flags. No, it's not brain rot. Like, they basically show they can do it, and there's nothing you're going to do about it. Right? Like, it's flexing their muscles. They basically say, yeah, we're banning it because we can. There's no other alternative. Our site is the best website. Go fuck yourself. And that's pretty much what people do. Like, there's nothing, there's no counter argument to that. Right? Like, as long as people put up with it, they will keep banning mods. They can ban anything they want. They can ban your mom if they want. The Bible tells us to be harder on yourself and other Christians than others as well. They don't care about the Bible, dude. Like, they're Twitter evangelists for a reason, right? Like, they're the born-again types. The zeal of the convert, if you will. Like, they're interested in virtue signaling and having people say, oh my goodness, you're such a good person. They're not actually interested in saving their souls. Power eventually gravitates to the most edgy. No. I don't think that's how it's like. I think like the thing with power is like this, right? When you don't have power, you have to constantly check yourself. You gotta check your behavior. You gotta check what you say, cause like the people in power have an interest in crushing you, right? So like this is why like right wingers on Twitter for a while they were acting very civilized, very well spoken, because like anything you said could get you banned, right? And so the people that are in power, they don't have to do this. Like the people in power, they don't have to check themselves. They can say whatever the fuck they want. They can do whatever they want. And so like all the people that are psychopaths, sociopaths, unhinged individuals, they gravitate towards the power because then they can be unhinged while in power, right? So like for instance, if you wanted to be unhinged during the Bush era, you'd become like a crazy Christian, right? Like a crazy person that's part of the moral majority, and then you can do like all of the hatred and bile by that. But then when the Obama came, if you wanted to keep doing that, you had to switch sides. Now you could do that, but you had to be a social justice activist. And then you can be as unhinged as you want. Then you can just do whatever you want, right? So yeah, I don't think like power creates immoral people. I think like immoral people gravitate towards the power because they can be immoral in public without any repercussions. Even if you're in power, you should remain civil and use it sparsely. Well, most people do, but like again, like when you're in power, you get like other people joining. And you get the grifters joining, you get the sociopaths joining, and you get like all of these people. You basically lose quality control. Like when you're not in power, you're really worried about the optics and how people view you, and you're worried about quality control. And so like you're careful that your movement disassociates from problematic individuals. When you're in power, no one gives a fuck, right? Like Hillary Clinton, didn't she like call one of the KKK leaders her mentors and shit? Like, she doesn't care because she's in power, right? Like, no one is going to call her out. No one is going to care, right? And so that's the reason, like, that movement attracts people that are unhinged because they can be unhinged in public. That's how Hillary went from being an evangelical to a social justice warrior. Yeah, it's pretty much the same, right? Like, whatever ideology allows you to be unhinged in public, that's what they're going to get. Like, if the United States becomes evangelical again, I'm pretty sure Hillary would become evangelical too, right? Like, she doesn't do it out of conviction. She just does it so that she has the public opinion on her side. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Gonna go and upload the videos on my secondary channel now. Hopefully get some work on my game. And I'll see you all later. Take care.